For those who don't know C or F conversion, just remember F makes no sense. I mean, I'm not going to say you're wrong. Like, being real, I'm not going to say you're wrong. And we're going to poke our nose in one of these other houses because I have already depleted the house we stayed in of all of its water. We're taking whatever water we can get. Yes, toilet water. Absolutely. No reason not to. Let's see. Travis says, or Va says, at such temperatures, you get frostbite burns before you go hypothermic, right? I believe so, yes. That, I mean, you're talking just absurd temperatures. And that's, like, they even have a hard difficulty. So that was one challenge we've done. There was a challenge called Survivor Man by Recrafted, which is RHI Crafted, another Project Zomboid streamer. And I found that challenge very fun, that basically the first 5 days you play fairly normal, but you're only allowed to use, you get like an axe and a hammer and just like 1 or 2 other tools to your name at the start. And you're only allowed to use those weapons or weapons you make. You're not allowed to use a single other weapon in the game, and it's the same with the tools. If you can make a version of that tool, you must use the version you make. You know, with exceptions like screwdrivers and that, which you can't make an equivalent, so you have to use like the saw and that. But after 5 days of playing, you must leave town, and you may not live in town ever again. You also may not live in any permanent structure that's already existing. Like, you have to build your own base from scratch. So yeah, it's an interesting challenge of just living 100% off the wilderness. Oh, and your primary food and water source must be from the wilderness. You may not just like collect canned goodsware. So we've done that challenge. The next challenge I'm likely to do is a slight alteration in the One Painful Year challenge, which is where you give the zombies, it's a higher population, but nowhere near as high as what I'm used to. It's something like 6x pop or something like that. So we're at 16 times population. But that one, you give the zombies a much higher AI, so they know how to open doors and windows without breaking them. So you actually have to go out of your way to lock doors, or board them up, or board up windows, or just hope zombies don't happen across where you sleep at night. You're supposed to set it to be pitch black nights. That is the one thing I'm not doing because it makes for a very, very terrible experience to watch on stream. I've had a lot of people who came to my stream saying, you know, someone else they were watching switched to it, and they asked me, please, very specifically, don't do that. So that is the one thing we're going to change, is we're not going to do the pitch black nights. Just because, again, terrible viewing. Like, probably fun to do on your own time. Not fun to stream. Not fun to watch on stream. And there are a bunch of stuff like extremely rare loot. I actually expect that challenge to be fairly easy for me. Because it's like, oh, but... No, but there's zombies. I'm like, alright, but yeah, but there's way less zombies than I normally fight. So, like, it's going to seem quiet compared to what I'm used to. But yeah, so I do mix up the challenge and all that between doing rounds of this challenge. We also do multiplayer on most Tuesdays. I've got a group of friends who are mostly new to the game and all that. Have I tried surviving with 0 zombie kills before? No. I mean, so if we're just talking about surviving in general, that probably wouldn't be that hard, because literally all I'd have to do is loot myself a cooking pot and a saw. And once I have that, I could walk out into the wilderness and survive pretty much forever. Because everything else you can craft. I mean, this day and age, I probably could even forage for some of that stuff. That said, like, winning a challenge by just surviving, that's no fun to play or watch. You're just like, okay, I'm winning, but what am I actually doing? I'm sitting inside my walls and doing nothing because I can be safe forever. That's actually what led me to this run, is we were doing 16x pop with respawns turned on for a long time. But with some of the changes, we found that we couldn't make it a way that we could keep an area clear. because I wanted to make it so if I stayed in an area killing the zombies wouldn't show up there for a long time, as long as I was staying in that area. So the idea would be I could make a place safe, quote-unquote, and then I would have, you know, a lot of difficulty moving into new areas, but that just wasn't a feasible thing with the way respawn works. And so then we pivoted to no respawn and just kind of leaned in on that, which is what led us to this challenge. And we're like, alright, yeah. Because unless someone does a mod for more more zombies to fight, there isn't a more zombies in this. Generally, you don't want to fight in the middle of zombies. I'm getting away with a lot of stuff I really shouldn't be doing because of how much nimble I've earned. And then just... Would you stop it? I want the hunting knife. I would like to safely loot the hunting knife. And I do not know where you're all coming from, but I wish you would go away. Because we've killed well over 10,000 zombies in Rosewood. And this is like a couple of forests and fields north of Rosewood. Oh, another thing for people new, I highly recommend, well, people in general playing the game, I highly recommend it when you go to attack, doesn't matter what weapon you're using, always backpedal. Like, even if I'm walking up, I backpedal during the attack. And the reasons for that is if I were to just absolutely miss the attack, that means I'm stepping away from the zombie that I've just missed hitting, so it's going to give me just a little bit of extra breathing room. My favorite way of measuring things is model Titanics. Totally arbitrary and unspecified. That's size 12 model Titanics. Yeah, there's been, for those, you know, familiar with XKCD, they've done the gag of, like, you know, how big is this? Well, it's this many marbles. Well, what size of marble? Well, no, it's just that many marbles. Like that kind of thing. Football field measuring units are acceptable long-range shooting scenarios. Australians invariably measure volume in Sydney harbors. I haven't heard that before, but that sounds awesome. I do appreciate when different, you know, different places, cultures, whatever, when you just have arbitrary, localized ways of measuring things. Like, one of the jokes for a lot of places and in where I'm at in the US is that we don't measure things in miles, we measure them in minutes. Like, so how long, you know, like, how far away is that? Like, how far is, you know, city X from Y? Oh, well, it's 30 minutes. And the person kind of looks at you like, that's not a distance at a time. It's like, right, but, you know, when you're driving, distance doesn't matter. It's how long it actually takes to travel that distance. Dog Rules 23 going, that's 1/100th of Sydney Harbor. I hope that's actually a thing they would do. I mean, I doubt it, because that'd be pretty ridiculous to go that way. It seems to kick in at 2-3 Sydney harbors, because otherwise it just gets weird. Yeah, going, well, that's 1.8 Sydney harbors, and then your brain has to process what that is. Right, I'm going to grab myself a drink, and I got to open it, so I'm going to pause for a second because we're in hostile territory. Brent says, if you've ever been to LA area, measuring the distance in terms of time is way more useful than actual distance. Well, yeah, and that's like true almost everywhere you go. The only time that doesn't end up being true is if you're in the middle of some place that's like got no traffic. And then plus you also have to consider like the roads. Like, I can have 2 points that are like right next to each other on the map, but the only road goes out and around kind of thing. That's like, okay, that's great, you know, these two cities are like 5-10 miles away from each other, but by road, you know, they're 25-30 miles an hour away from each, or 25-30 miles away from each other. So distance is irrelevant, it's time. It also becomes irrelevant. Also, because you almost had even a better, like, so it also says, as it also becomes less and less useful measure the faster you approach the speed of light. I was going to say, it also becomes more and more relevant. Let's see. Siphon says, do you get something for clearing the map? I mean, personal satisfaction. But yeah, there's no prize or anything. You get a lot of katanas. That's one thing you get. I mean, to be fair, if we have actually killed all of the zombies on the map and the game crashes and reverts to a new game, that wouldn't necessarily bother me because we've killed all the zombies, and so we would walk around the world with just the sound of wind in the background and no other sources of any type of interaction happening. So, you know, maybe I'd want that world to be over because our character would be like, there's nothing left. It's all gone. Speaking of nothing left, this road was like solid with bodies not too long ago. Not as solid as Riverside got, but it was pretty overrun with bodies that I couldn't drive without going down to like 5-10 miles an hour without risking flipping the car from just sheer bodies. Yeah, so the place I'm trying to get to is down on this map, is these houses right here on the west side. Those are the ones I want. They're in nice wrought iron fenced areas, so you only have to worry about being like zombies moving in from the front side of them. How many zombies is 16 times? Well, I mean it's 16 times, but yeah. We believe on the map there's anywhere from 900,000 to 1.2 million. And I know I have a giant number of zombies behind me. Generally, my strategy when I'm in the middle of zombies is I will try and fight in the direction that has the least number of zombies to kind of keep a path clear. Generally, want to have the rule of have an exit at all times. So my exit would be simply walk north. I have both a spare car here and then the car I've been driving here. So if my car gets overrun by zombies that's not safe for me to get in, no problem. I just go to the backup. And I mean, we're here to kill them all, so I appreciate when the zombies come to me because it means no big deal. Yeah, we have no idea. Like we have guesstimates on how many zombies there are. We know it's at least 900,000. That we can say with high confidence. But anything past that is educated guess. Oh yeah, we've joked about it before that I would like to see them have, you know, you find katanas more often, but like a bunch of them are like Renaissance fair replica katanas. You know, they're like costume grade, where you're gonna hit one thing hard with it once and the thing's just gonna fold over itself. Versus like, you'll find the super duper rare katana that's like actually a decent katana, like a legitimate katana. I would still make the like decoration grade or whatever you want to call it. Like I'd still make that actually work as a long blade weapon. It's just it'd be a crappy one. Get like 2 or 3 swings, nowhere near as much damage, and then it would break. Oh yeah, for the record, when it comes to the katanas in this game, like they don't even show up in the game until you're at month 2 post the zombie apocalypse. Like, I had to survive 2 whole months before we could even be eligible to find a katana zombie. I think you can find the katanas in survivor houses, but it's so absurdly rare to find them that way. Like, it's almost not worth mentioning. Like, I've never found one inside a... Well, no, maybe I found one. Either way, it's basically not worth mentioning on a meaningful level. You almost always find them in the zombies themselves. Because, like, I would say on normal game settings, you're probably looking at finding maybe 1 or 2 katanas. Like, maybe 3 katanas per year if you're hunting lots of zombies on your default game settings. Just because you're not going to have enough zombies to find that many katanas. How long do they last? You usually get a couple hundred zombie kills out of them. They can be all over the board. We actually have someone who I thought was really awesome that they were actually keeping track of how many zombie kills I got for each and every single katana. And the lowest kill count we had on a katana was 88 zombies. And I think the highest is like 300 something or whatever. A machete is considered a long blade in this game. The only long blades are the katana and the machete. Yeah, but I know I've definitely have plenty of people who confirmed that katanas 100% show up in Survivor House. They're just super rare. Gotcha. Yeah, it's interesting all the inspiration that we've had from, like, where the devs got their inspiration for stuff. Like, when you look at the map, you might look at this and go, "Heh, this looks a lot like Sims 1." That's, you know, that's actually not an accident. They were inspired for a lot of the way the game looks by The Sims 1. Yeah, and that's where we said, huh, 300 doesn't actually sound that much. Yeah, that is one of the things with the katana that, like, it does absolutely wreck house. But if you're talking strictly a long blade that you can, like, get one shots and kill lots of zombies, once you got some points in maintenance, the machete outperforms it so far as kills to weapon ratio kind of thing. Guys, like, it's so soothing watching zombies get their skulls bashed in like popping bubble wrap. Yeah, I've had a few people like, you know, when you think about what's actually occurring on the screen, it's not so soothing. When you're just listening to, like, whack, whack, squash, whack, whack, squash. Like, it's actually kind of, you know, kind of chilling and vibing. Which is weird, admittedly. But, you know, I get it. It's a sound thing. Sound things don't have to make, like, that kind of sense. And I can 100% see it where it's just, like, you know, background noise like the rain and all that. And it all has to be ruined when you open a door and you hear the violin screech. Death ASMR. I mean, pretty much. Yeah, and again, where you might be looking around here and going, huh, this doesn't seem like that many zombies. I mean, it was quite a few more. And then we killed about 60,000 of them. So, you know. There's that. Jeff Kitten says, all I need is a voiceover from Black and White whispering, death, at you. The Ann Worm says, it sounds like the crunch foam stuff that people make. Yep. Alright, you have a hunting knife, so I would like that. I'm going to take it right now. Don't worry about the zombies hanging right at us. Because hunting knives are kind of my go-to weapon. Generally speaking, almost any weapon you use will burn some level of stamina. But the short blades, you know, they use so little stamina that you can just keep going. Crossover says, got a zombie kill of the week? Oh. No, but we have a zombie almost killing us of the week, where I was trying to kill a crawler, took 3 swings at, and then tried to run away because all 3 swings missed, even though I hit different areas and all that. And so we took a laceration, which was pretty rough. Luckily we survived because I was going to be super frustrated if that was how we went. I will say probably the funny clip of the week was just taking this fire truck just up the road there, driving at only like 10-20 miles per hour and going over zombie bodies, just watching the truck just go up onto its side, and I had to use, this is our backup car, the station wagon. I just had to use the station wagon to tow it back onto its wheels. Yeah, this is nice, all these. Do I have save file backups? Normally I don't worry about them. In this particular case, I do. Because I did finally put them all. These sirens right now are non-functional. They were functional, but they broke. And in the vanilla game, you cannot repair them despite being able to repair the entire rest of the car. It's even to the point that the devs are like, oh yeah, we should be able to repair these, it's just nothing. Alright. Alright, Kara. Or Karia, I don't know how to pronounce your name, I'm sorry. You have a good one. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out. And hope you have yourself a good night. I've had a number of people say it would be like cool if you had to worry about tripping over zombies. I'm like, no, don't do that, please. No. It would basically mean you couldn't play high pop. Because if you ever risked over, tripping over zombies, there was no way you could clear without crossing over your own zombie pass. And with that many bodies, you are absolutely going to trip. And so just like RNG deciding you died is a real feels bad way of dying in a game. Oh. Yeah, so zombies actually will trip if you turn on sprinters. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily have to burn bodies, but it would mean you'd absolutely have to, I would have to take the time to take every single one of these bodies and pile them up in one spot where I don't have to worry about bumping into them. I do want the vitamins. We do use those, actually. Yeah, or you'd have to keep going different routes. Let's see. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm getting the screen turn totally green momentary every once in a while. May lose turn on a capture card? No, I don't actually have a capture card. Alright, Kaiser, you sleep well. Yeah, no, I don't have a capture card or anything going. This is running on the same PC that's playing the game. I'm not dropping any frames whatsoever, 0 frames dropped. So if it keeps flashing green for you, I don't know. Like, I have my mod computer over here and it's running fine. I just peeked over and watched for a few seconds. Like, I do have, every once in a while, Twitch will just, flat out drop the stream. Like, everything will be fine on my end. And then, the stream will just drop for a good 10-20 seconds. It's usually pretty rare. We've had it maybe once a week kind of thing. But the moment I notice that's down because chat's just blowing up, it's rip and all that. I'm like, what? Oh, we've been dropped or whatever. I'll check that because that's not my internet connection. Because I'm sitting here going, no, it's not the internet connection. Everything else online is still working. I still am streaming my music. I still have everything else going swimmingly. Did I mention we wreck house? We absolutely demolish? And if you ever play the game and you're sitting there going, why am I not killing zombies nearly this fast? Like, what is wrong with my character? There's nothing wrong with your character. Your character just needs more time fighting and getting good at fighting. Because there's not a start in the game other than like modding that'll get you this kind of combat prowess early on. What are my melee weapon skills? I'll actually show you here in a minute. But generally speaking, most of them are between 7 and 8, with 1 or 2 of them being real close to 9. My character just needs to kill another 55k zombies. Give me the hand axe. Where'd you go? There you are. Yeah, so if I actually pull up the skills here, the combat skills, if you look at all of them, most of them are at 7, getting pretty close to 8. We got 2 of them that are getting real close to 9, our short blade as well as our maintenance. And then our strength is at 7, and our strength is at 8, and our fitness is at 7. But yeah, and we started with nothing. Like, we had 0 fitness, 0 strength, 0 combat skills. This is a 0 to hero build. We started as weak, obese, unfit, and slow healer. And we have fixed all but slow healer because slow healer can't be fixed. Sorry, I'm getting this out of the way because I gotta deal with zombie. And I need visibility. Takes up a lot of screen. We do have some gun skill at 5 aim for reload. But that only counts for maybe 1,000 zombie kills that we did, like, you know, month 2 or so. We went on like 1 or 2 rampages with the guns, and we haven't since. I've gotten to the point I stopped even bother, like, when I see a zombie with a shotgun, I don't even bother taking the ammo out of it. Because the time it takes me to take the ammo out of the shotgun, I could probably kill all the zombies the shotgun would kill with that ammo. So it's just a more efficient use of my time to kill the zombies straight up and not worry about the gun. Alright, so that's going to be the first, like, this is going to be our house to try and get into. That's going to be the plan. We want to get into that house, hopefully without having the entire house destroyed in the process. Just checking behind us every so often, make sure no sneaky zombies get in. I should stop using the machete because we're at moderate exertion. But I kind of don't want to. This is normally the part where the hunting knife comes out, but I've overcommitted at this point. I'm just going to kill these zombies, and I'm going to climb in the car and sit in it for a minute. Okay. Jetpacks guy says, I enjoy your playstyle. A lot of people just stay in their base 24/7. Super boring. So there's myself and there's a couple other streamers that are in the community that play very similarly. Like Royal with Cheese TV, or sorry, it's Royale with Cheese TV, as well as Mr. underscore Lamprey UK. They have very similar playstyles to my own. Most of us do try and like leave the base on a very regular occasion. A Lawful Falafel's also similar vibe. He does have times where he hangs out the base for a while, but not too bad. But yeah, there are definitely ones that's like their only goal is to survive as long as possible. Of which, you know, if you never leave the safety of your base, you live a long time, but like, are you really living? Like I've talked to Lamprey a good couple times, and one of the things that we both kind of agree is like when you get safe in the game gets boring. In our opinion. And so I'm making a point, oh yeah, that spear I mentioned that I was going to leave on the ground because I didn't have space for it at the time. And so I'm like, if I leave this on the ground and the bodies decay, I'll find it. And there it is. So for me, like, I try to go out of my way to make sure I don't hit that point where I'm just like, okay, there's nothing more I need doing. So that's part of the reason why I like doing challenge runs. Because a lot of challenges, they have either like a set ending, or they expect you to do something that isn't realistic or practical or whatever, and they force you to do stuff that's unsafe. Oh, like the one where saying a one painful year would probably be the next challenge I'd do once this run, win or lose, we finish this round, because I don't do multiple attempts at this run in a row because it's just such a marathon. So, like, what I would do, for example, is with the painful year, one of the rules is you also have to move every couple of months. Like, there's a day you must move by. And the reason I knew I could come in here safely is we've already been sleeping in this motel room a couple times. So I know we can stay here, because this Moodle up here, Drowsy, that's bad news if we were to stay out and fight. Unfortunately, this means what I need to do is I'm going to eat my salad. Rip. No, my stream's going fine. Yeah, like, nah, for me, stream's going alright. Oh, and I'll show you another thing, is once you get to 7 cooking, you can use rotten food. And it's fine. The hunger you get out of it's kind of garbage. Like, it's very, very penalized on what you get out of it. But you can still use it and it's perfectly safe. Okay, so you are going to notice I'm going to fast forward, and the reason I'm fast forwarding is I've go to sleep right now. When I wake up, it's going to be like pitch black outside, and it's super terrible to wander around fighting zombies in the super dark. Because I do actually keep my video settings in the game, so that night is like legitimately dark in the game, because I feel night should be meaningful. I also know that's a terrible viewer experience, so I have a filter on OBS. So what you're seeing versus what I'm seeing is about 20 to 30% difference. Like, I'll even actually show you the difference of how much my filter does. So what you're seeing now is what you see, and here is what I see. So yeah, you can imagine if I'm wandering around in the dark, it's a bad time. So when I talk about like, oh, I can't see in this field. Yeah. Hey, Lulu. How's it going?